Okay, back with turn 2 of our demonstration scenario of the solo rules. So let's jump right back into it here. We're pretty close in terms of engaging now, so let's just see what's going to happen. So first thing is we're going to look at our sequence of play. We've got spotting, command, and initiative here. So spotting is going to be pretty easy this turn. Nobody can see anybody yet. You'll notice here they're all crossing the town some way, shape, or form. So there's no spotting. So nobody's spotted. So every command is either going to be a move, overwatch, or no command on there. Now I'm going to do my commands first. Again, I'm going to have 5 commands based upon the available commands table. So what I'm going to do is actually assign them like this. I'm going to be all moving, but I'm now going to put individual move markers on all of my Hanemegs. So there's 3 there. And I'm going to put 2 moves on my Panzer IIIs. Okay, so that gets my movement set up there. So now let's see what the French are going to do. Now we're going to roll on the movement chart. So let's go over here and go to the movement chart. So they're going to be under the attack section here, and they're also going to get a modifier of +10 because they're cautious. All right. So let's go back and do some dice rolls. So let's do Y9 first. So he's got 40 with a +10 makes 50. And that's going to give us a short halt. Okay. Now, as I said before, this can only be moves and overwatches because of the situation of not being spotted yet. So you'll notice there's a little superscript here. If no friendly units are within spotting range and minimum firing range for the hidden unit, then it's going to be an OW command. All right. So this one's going to be a overwatch command. Now, for the narrative, I think that's pretty good, so I'm actually going to put an overwatch on there. I could change that. I may think about, saying, yeah, they're so close to the town, they're just going to nudge in there and try to contest the town before it's there. But they've got a really good line of sight over here to kind of prevent units from coming, and as well as over here. So I'm going to keep them as an overwatch and see what the rest of them do. So let's go to Z9. And they roll an 11, +10 makes 20. And they are actually going to get a move command. All right, so that makes sense because the other guys are going to watch. The other guys are going to try to move in and contest the town. And then we'll do Y9. 52 with a +10 is 62. And that makes them a short halt again. All right, so another interesting one. Short halt, default is overwatch, could get a move. They're so close, they could move in there. We've got these guys moving already, and they're under a cautious banner here. So I'm going to make them an overwatch as well. Go to BB10, 20 +10 is 30. So that gives us another move command. So they're going to be moving. So we'll get a move command on them. And then we're going to do H10. And they roll a 13, +10 is 23. Again, that's going to be a move, 23, because it's 01 to 49 is move. So they're going to be moving. Again, narrative fitting very nicely. H9. They're doing a 45, +10 is 55, and I think that's just out of the range because I said 49 before. It is, because they're going to get a short halt. In this case, it would be an overwatch. So, a little far away, but it makes sense. We'll take it as an overwatch. And then H8 rolls a 45 as well. They've got an overwatch. This one's a little bit far away, so I'm actually going to say that this is going to be a move instead of an overwatch because they rolled a short halt. And then F8, 19, that's going to be a move here as well. All right. So there we go. We have our French commands there. Makes sense for the narrative. We've got some moving. They hear some tanks in the distance. Some of the platoons are going to start to say, okay, wait a minute, we better be cautious here and get some guys ready in case they swing around us and we can take shots at them. Okay, so there's our commands. All right. Now we've got to roll the initiative. Again, it's going to be the same thing as before. French are 50, and the Germans will be a roll plus 10. So I'm going to roll. So I roll a 57 plus 10, 67. So I get the initiative this time. Now, this is interesting. I can actually pick. Do I want to be the first player or do I want to be the second player? Second player moves first. And that's kind of interesting this turn because we're both ready to capture hexes in this town on here. So you know what? I'm going to actually take the second player. There's going to be no firing, no direct firing because nobody can see each other. But I'm going to take the second player move so I can move first in our moves. Okay, so let's move right to that phase. I'm going to start moving. I'm going to move my Henemags first. All right, you'll see why here in a second. So I'm going to actually move off my counters here and start to move these individually. So I'm going to take the first one, and he's going to go down one in with the Panzer IIIs. He's actually going to turn. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. He's going to turn and then go into the town right here. Move this out of the way because I've taken that hex now. And we'll delete that. So he's moved 1, 2, and then this is the big thing. I'm actually going to dismount my rifle squad that's actually loaded on there. So I'm going to go to my hex over here and let's just change the ID so that makes sense here. I'll bring him on board, and he's going to actually jump out and go into the building hex right here. He's going to go into this building hex right here, and let's swing him around to point in that direction. All right, delete. So now I've taken 2 hexes. That's cool. I'm getting control of the town. But I'm going to pause this here because this now can trigger some Overwatch. Potentially trigger some Overwatch here, and I've got to now take a look at that. Also, this is going to be triggering some identification of units. I can now see units that were hidden, and we can activate them at this point. So let's take a look. So first off, we have to do the actions first. So the Overwatch actually comes first. So let's take a look at this guy. He can actually Overwatch on me here. This guy can't because he's going down the hex side, and that's going to be blocked. But he can. So he's going to Overwatch me. So he's actually going to shoot at my unit here. It's going to be a GP shot. Now you may be saying, again, who's going to be shooting? How are we going to do this shooting? Well, remember, we have a main enemy unit, H-39s. And that's what's going to be doing the shooting. H-39 is going to be up here, and it's actually going to take the shot at me. Now, its shot's going to be 3 hexes away, so we're going to look over here and see the range, 3 hexes. It's going to be a firepower of 2 plus a coaxial fire. All right, so he can shoot at me with firepower of 2, coaxial gun there as well, and that's what he's going to do. Now, my defense, if I look over here as a rifle squad, I'm actually in a stone building, excuse me, not stone, brick building. So I'm going to be in medium cover. If we look at that on our terrain chart, back over here, terrain chart. Here we go. Brick building is medium cover. All right, so we're going to get a medium cover for that. So that's good. So that's going to be 6. Based upon this, but I'm moving, so I'm actually going to drop down to 4. So -2 for the moving. So I'm down to 4S for that. So it's going to be a 2 against a 4 on the GP chart. So I come over here, here's my 4, here's my 2 right here. So it's going to be a 60, greater than 60 effect, suppression, greater than 86. It's going to be effective. Right. Now, plus and minuses here. This is Overwatch fire, so it's a -5. Also, this is French, and they have two-man turrets. This is a special rule in the French book. All right, take a look at that. Read through your special rules over there. They're very interesting and very effective for fighting with the French. They have a They also have a -5 for that, so it's going to be -10 Overwatch and French two-man turret. But they have a coax firing, and it's going to be a +10 for that. So -10 +10 nets out to 0. So basically the shot is going to be as it is, greater than 60 or greater than 86. So let's see how the French can do here. They roll a 16. That's not going to do anything. So that's a miss. All right? So they fired but missed. So now, though, I can actually see who they are because they are now in. They are now get a chance to be activated. So I'm going to look at my solo chart over here. And under the activations, you'll see there's a 40 or less activated, 41 or greater is not activated. Also, there's a special rule with this scenario to add 5 for the French. So they're actually going to show up with 45 or less, or they're going to be fake if 46 or greater. So let's go ahead and roll for that. 82. So this is actually a fake unit. So I'm going to get rid of the Overwatch, and I'm going to get rid of the unit, or the hidden counter as well. Now you may say, well, how can they shoot at you if they're a fake unit? Well, it could be other units taking shots at you. It's all part of the fog of war. And it also gives you the opportunity to take some sort of ambush before you do anything. So you've got to think about what you're doing. And it gives you the opportunity to take some fire while you're trying to get into position here as well. Now I do have another Overwatch way down here, and they may or may not trigger. We'll take a look at that here, because they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes away. That's quite a distance for the H-39 to shoot at. Let's take a look at its range. 5 hexes. Oh, it'll still be on the 2 column to take the shot at them with it. Let me see if they do see me, because that's the other part of it. Do they see the spot on here? Because I'm an infantry. I moved. I'm going into a medium cover. So if we do a quick check on our spotting chart, let's see, spotting chart, here we go. Okay, let's slide this over. There we go. On our spotting chart, we can see that our base is 10. I moved into heavy cover, it's -2, but I also moved, so I'm actually +2, so I'm back at 10. So I am actually spotted. They're not suppressed or anything else over here. So I am spotted. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. They can shoot at me, being spotted, with a firepower of 2. So we'll take the shot. Why not? Showing you maybe they'll get something effective on me. So the firepower is going to be 2. All right. I'm still a 4 in my defensive position because I'm moving and into medium cover. So I'm going to be a 4, 2 on 4. It's going to be 60, 86. -5 for the Overwatch, -5 for the French 2-man turret. This time they don't get the coax, so it's going to be a -10 on the dice roll. So they're actually trying to hit on 70 for suppression and 96 for an effective. So let's see what they do. 19. No, I didn't get a shot. All right. So they missed there as well. So again, we can see if there's something there rolling on my activation chart. 82. No, nothing there. All right. So these dice are showing there's nothing there, and that's probably true. You know, these are fake ones and so forth. So now that's all my Overwatch. This guy can't see them over here, so that's good. But I now can potentially see these units, and I need to just double check my spotting on here. Now, this guy, I'm gonna spot him. He's an H-39 vehicle moving. So yeah, that's pretty much a pretty much a spot. You know, just going back a quick check of the chart. Vehicle +2 for moving, so it's like 40 hexes. All right, so I can check and see if there's actually anybody there, because I can see them. And there's nobody there. I'm gonna overrule that here, just because vassal dice can be a little flaky at times. I'm actually gonna say there is something there. They actually rolled less than a 45, so I'm gonna actually delete that. So now I got to figure out what is there. So this is where I'm gonna actually look on the scenario chart and come back down here, and we're gonna roll against this within the ranges that we have over here. All right, so I'm going to roll 2d6. I roll a 20. So what do I have over here? Oh, here we go. Yeah, wrong card. All right, so I roll a 20. So it actually winds up being some H38s that are over in that hex. All right. So now I got to see how many are there. So I've got H38s. I know what's there. I got to see how many. So I find that on the number of activated units chart over here. You can see there's ranges for this. And there's also a modification for our special scenario rules over here as well. That modification is right here. When checking the number of activated units, treat a result of 1 or 2 on the number of activated charts as 2 units activated, a result of 3, 4, 5 as number of activated units as 3. So I'm either going to have 2 units or I'm going to have 3 units, depending upon what I roll here. So let's roll the dice and see. So it's a 49. So let's go back to the solo charts. So 49 falls into this range here. So it's showing 2 units as the result. Okay, so there's 2 units there. Checking our special rule, 1 or 2 units is actually 2 units. So we're going to get 2 H39s right in here. So let's add those in at this moment here. French H38s. I said H39s, H38s. All right, and we're going to just clone that, and we'll put that in there. Now my orientation on these units will be facing the unit. So they're gonna face this way here, like this. Put my move marker back on them because they haven't moved yet. So I've got a couple of H39s right there facing off against these units right here. Now I can move to the next one that I can potentially see in the background here. Again, it's an open field. Thinking main enemy units H39, it's a vehicle. So I can spot them. So let's go ahead and roll for them. So it's a 77. All right, it's another one that's not there. I'm going to overrule that again. I want to have a few units here to make this kind of interesting for us on here. So I'm going to actually say there is a unit there, and now we're going to roll again to see what type of unit it is. It's 34. We're going to come back over here. 34. Oops. Here we go. And we're going to look at our chart. Again, H38s. So we've got some more H38s that are coming on board here. All right. So a couple more H38s. Let me roll to see how many. 29. So the 29 roll is going to get me within the 2 range again. So it's another 2 H38s in here. So I'm going to clone these. Oh, not that. Delete. I'm going to separate these and then clone 2 more of these. Clone and clone again. Move back, move him over like that. So we've got a couple of platoons of H38s coming on here. Then we're going to go to the last one over here. They're in the field, in the brush. All right. Now brush is treated as light for spotting purposes. All right. But we've got a unit moving, so that's going to give a +2 on the spotting chart and a -1 for the brush. So it's a +1. They're a vehicle. So they're going to be over here. I can see them on 30, range of 30. So they're spotted. All right, let's see if they are actually anything. So I'm going to roll again. 75. All right, they're nothing. In this case, I'm going to take that. I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. Delete, delete. All right. So now I've actually spotted these guys. Now I can't see these guys that are behind the hedgerow here and here, and I can't see them because it's down the spine. All right. But it does give me an idea of who's in front of me. So at least I've got a couple of platoons of H-38s that are rolling up on the town to try to take it. All right. And we'll go from there. So that's my move for these guys. My next move is going to be another Hanomag. They're going to come up, go one into the in with the 3Fs. They're going to turn and go 2 to there as well. And they're going to stop right there. But now the other loaded infantry is going to jump off. And he's going to jump off into this stone building so he can get another hex. There we go. So he jumps in over there. No opportunity fire because they're blocking there. And we'll go to the last Hanomag. He's going to turn and go 1, and then into the town, into the alleyway of the town for 2, 3. All right, it's 2 points to enter the alleyway. So he's going to stop right there. He can't do much more. I cannot bail out my or dismount my infantry because I only have 1 movement point left. So they have to stay on board over there. Okay, move those back over there. So now I've captured 4 hexes, so that gives me not total control for victory points, but it gives me a majority control and puts me in a pretty good position depending upon what the French are going to do over here. Now, what am I going to do with my 3Fs? I got 2 commands and 3 units. So that means 2 units are going to share a command and 1 unit is going to be independent. All right. I'm going to play it this way. I'm going to have my first unit is going to be the independent one, and he is actually going to do some moving. He's going to move this way though. He's going to turn, go into here for 1. Now at this point he can't see him. I'd like to see him, but I can't because it's crossing over this hex. So I can't see him yet. But I'm going to have him move up 1 more for there. All right, but the moment he does this, that's going to trigger the opportunity, the Overwatch fire up here on him. All right, again, it's going to be the H-39 shooting at him, range 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. All right, so let's bring up our cards. The H-39 at 4 hexes is firing AP, of course. Is going to be short range, range 4, exactly 4 right there. It's going to have a penetration of 7 if it hits. All right, but first we got to see if it's hit. But so it's a short range on there. All right, so let's bring up our AP chart. So we'll look under short range. We're going to start at 70. My target size is 0 on there because if I look at the 3F, should show you that over here. Units, tracks. 3, where are you here? 3F. There we are, right there. 3F. Okay. So the size is 0. Okay, so that's not going to be anything. It's moving, so it's -2, so that drops us down to the 56. There is no cover. All right, there's no short halt, no damage, no on fire, no brew up, no smoke, but it is an Overwatch. All right. Now, is an Overwatch a just or is it a just a plain Overwatch? This is a good question. A little bit of dilemma, and this is going to be totally up to you in terms of how you play this. Now, there's no facing with these units here. Now it's presumed that they were moving up, that they were facing in this direction. And I generally try to orient my counters facing, you know, where they're going. So in this case, I'm going to make the assumption that he's facing and turret facing is going towards the town and not over here. So he's going to get the Overwatch adjust instead of just the plain Overwatch. So that's going to be a -3 to their fire. So down -2 for moving, 3 more to the -5 for the Overwatch adjust. All right. There's no ammo limit, I don't believe. Actually, let's just check that real quick here. No, there's no ammo limit on there. Not dual fire. Shooter grade is going to be 0, so it's -5. The only other thing, again, 2-man turret. So there's a -1 for that. So it's actually going to go down to -6. So it's going to be a 28% chance of a hit on this guy. So we'll see what we can do. 28%, 28 or less, 2d6. 76. That is definitely a miss. So he shoots and he misses wide on that. Okay, now let's see if something's there. The Overwatch has been triggered. We can now spot him going back this way. So let's see if there's actually something there. Rolls a 1. Definitely something there. All right, what's there? Roll a 30. So let's go back to our solo chart. 30, the card. 30 is going to be, again, the H38s. So we've got another batch of H38s that are up there. And how many? 68. That falls under the 1. So that's going to be 2 H38s again. So this looks like it's going to be all H38. So I'm going to delete that. We'll just take over here and just copy and put him over there, put him back, and then copy again. Alright, and I'm going to have to put on a turret adjustment over here for that. So let me just pause here for a second so I can go find that, and I'll get that on board. So hang on 1 minute. Okay, so I've got my my H38 all set here now. Notice I got the turret facing that direction now, with the opportunity fire taken care of. So now the German still has 2 more points left. Now to figure out what it wants to do with that. They move down 2, actually what it can do is it can actually spot down here. I believe we can do some actually spotting before we move back. Yes, so they can actually spot down to here. So we can actually see if there's units in here as well. So let's take a look at that first. So the first one here at BB10, there is something there. And we're going to see what it is. It's a 81. Let's look at what that is on our card. 81 is a rifle unit that's moving up, or a set of rifle units. So let's see how many. 16. That's a low number, so I think that's going to be a few of them. 16 is going to be, yep, there's going to be 3 of them there. All right. So let me get those on board and come right back. Okay, so I've got the infantry on board here. They're in BB10. Now, a couple things about the infantry. Where I had left you off with this is the fact that they've activated. You notice they have trucks. But when they do activate, there's a special rule up here for French leg and towed units which are activated mounted on transports unless they were the 8 hexes of a German unit or a VP hex, in which case they are activated without the transports. So the transports are not put in here because they are near the VP and the German unit up here that spotted them. Now we'll try to go for the last one down here in F8. So I should be able to see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even though they're in medium cover, they have been moving. Main unit is H39, so they're going to be spotted as a vehicle. So let's see if there's anything there. There is. It rolls a 3. Let's see what it is. 89. All right, let's look back on our card. And 89 is now a heavy machine gun group moving up behind them. Okay, how many is the next question. We roll 53. Looking on our card over here. And we see there's 1, so there's actually 2 units on board here. So now let's just take a quick peek at this and see what the range is before I put them on board to see whether I've got to put them with transports or not. So let's go here, and range is 7, so they're within range. So they're actually going to come on by themselves. Heavy machine guns are going to be by themselves, and they're going to be moving. So let's move them off. Oops. Delete. And we'll move 1, 2 heavy machine guns in there. That's a pretty powerful force. All right, so I've spotted every unit. So now we know what we're up against. Some H-38s moving up against the town, and then some infantry moving to support them there as well. So now we've come out of the hidden unit phase, and hopefully you've seen how nice this is to give you a variability as to what's actually coming at you when you're moving in. So now at this point, I still have some thought of what I want to do with this tank, because I still have two movement points. It would be interesting to go down here and try to shoot at the infantry, but I've got these 2 tanks here that are supporting here as well as the heavy machine gun. They can do some damage there as well. So I may consider just moving back a little bit and setting up more of a defense around the town, and let the French kind of move up to try to contest the town and then react that way. I think that's going to be my best approach with that. So what I'm going to do is back this guy up. So he's actually going to go back up for 1 times 2 points to make 4 points, and then of course I get my free move of free turn to reorient myself in a different direction. So this is going to get me out of harm's way for the moment, but at least now I know what I'm up against in terms of what's there. So they can radio that back to the commanders, and they can do what they need to do. So that takes care of him. So he's done. I'm going to get off there. Now I have my 2 other Panzer IIIs. So now this is interesting. What do I want to do with them? They could come up in position for attacks over here as well, but again, still a little undeveloped here. French tank guns are pretty good against early German tanks, so you got to be careful that way. But these are some of the decisions hopefully you're seeing that now you've got to make against this AI team that's behind it here. So let me do this. There's not much more after this in terms of wrapping up the turn. I'm just going to reposition these, think about where I'm going to put them, and then we'll come back. I'll clean up the board, and I'll come back with turn 3, which will probably have a little bit more shooting from that perspective from there. So. Okay, I'm back here. It's actually still turn 2. I kind of zoned out there with my movement. I totally forgot about the French movement there as well. So I have actually updated my units. I've moved up my other Panzer IIIFs into the town, took another victory hex. So now I have control the town for victory purposes, and have moved up over here. Now I have the French units to actually move and use the solo movement for these French units. Now, a couple things with the French. The French are actually going to move together, each platoon in the hex itself, because of lack of radios and two-man turrets and pretty much hand signals and stuff, those tanks really need to stay together as platoon units as they're moving around there. So each one of these units is just going to move, our hexes is going to move together as one unit rather than two. So we're going to go with each one of these hexes in terms of how it's going to move, and we're going to go back to our movement chart to see what's going to go on. So let's start with Z9, and we're going to roll on our movement chart. So we're going to roll a 98, and the direction is going to be 6. Now on 98, back here on our movement chart, also too, they're going to get a -10 for that movement. So it's actually going to be an 88, and that's going to be most dangerous friendly unit. All right, so let's take a look at this, and it's going to take the 6 down to 5 fastest route. So most dangerous friendly unit that it can see. So its most dangerous friendly unit is what it can see right ahead here. So in this case, these guys can actually move forward and potentially overrun them in that hex, I believe. Let me just pause and just double check on that, but they may be able to overrun it, which would be interesting as well. So hang on. Okay, took a look at that, and they can't move all the way in for the overrun because it would cost 3 to actually go in here, and they only have movement of 3. So they can only move up the 1 hex right in there like that, and close in range over here. Now at this point they're going to spot each other this way. Okay, but again, I'm going to leave the focus going forward because that's the direction they want to go, into the town and against this enemy unit. They're not going to all of a sudden now pivot this way because they potentially see the tank. Again, that's your decision in terms of how they're going to set their focus. With this, I'm going to play it that way. We'll see how it goes from there. All right, so their movement is set. Let's take a look at the other H-38 that's behind it. We'll roll to see what they're going to do. So they roll a 85 and a direction of 1. 85 drops to a 75. And that's going to be highest victory point hex, so they're going to move towards the town, and they're going to move in the safest manner possible. Okay, so safest manner possible. That means they're going to avoid being seen by anybody. Now they can avoid being seen by them by moving over here to the right a little bit and still close on the town. So I'm going to take off the spot, and we're going to go make them turn like that, and then turn back for 1, 2, and then 3, and then we'll have them do their free turn that way. Okay, because they want to be oriented towards where they were going, which is the town itself. Okay. So that takes care of the tanks. Now let's go over to the infantry over here in BB-10. Where are they going? They're going 80 and dropping to 70 and 1. All right, so I think that's going to be similar to what we just saw with the H-39s. So 80 down to 70, highest point value, yep, and safest route. Okay, so let's take a look at how they're going to move. So they only got a movement of 2. So they're going to take the safest route. Now they could go 1, 2 up here, but then they would be right in firing range, so that's not safe. 1, 2 up with the tank, that would be safe. Again, going in that general direction. So there, all 3 of them are going to wind up being with the tanks up here. I'm just going to move them all on like that, and then orient them that way. Whoops, I didn't get them all. Wait a second. Oh, you got locked up into there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. let's take all of these and put them in there. All right, so that's where they started from. All right, so they're good. Okay, last one is going to be the machine guns. How are they going to move? So they're going to move 64 down to 54 and 8. So 54 and an 8. 54 is going to be highest point value, same thing. 8 is going to be fastest. Okay, so they're going to move the fastest way possible. Now, these are heavy machine guns, so they don't move very fast. I'm just going to make a quick double check on French leg units. They're going to be a section. Yeah, they're going to only move two. Yeah, they're only going to move one because they have heavy machine guns, so they can only move one hex at a time. So they're going to move fastest. So 6 one, half dozen other. I'm going to take them up here, like so. Okay. So there we have the French movement. They're trying to get towards the town one way or another. I'm already in the town. My next question is, do we do any turret adjusts into our adjustment phase? In this case, I really don't see my need. I am somewhat facing my turret directions that I wanted to. Actually, I may adjust him because he's facing slightly off to the side. Where's my markers? There we go. Turrets, German turret, right there. And we'll pivot them around like that. All right, so he's now facing that way. Let's zoom in here a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. Now for the French forces, I think these guys that are behind the hedge, they're okay. They don't need to really turn their turrets. Real dilemma here is for the H-39s that are sitting in front of the town, because they have one unit right in front, but they have my tank over here that's got the line on them directly like this. They can see them as well. So the question is, which is going to be the bigger threat? This guy can potentially close assault them, which is a major threat. He can take a shot at them, which is also a threat. But the German 37 is not very good against the H-38s. So the threat is really going to be more the infantry than it is the tanks right now. So we're going to leave them oriented facing the infantry from there. Okay, other than that, I think we are set for the turn this time. Everybody's moved and everything's set, so I'm just going to clean up markers and come back and we will start turn 3 for real this time.